There we go. Welcome, everyone. Let me get this share screen. Hopefully everyone can see the screen. Can you see the screen okay? This is session number 4, May 21st, 2020, the digital trifecta and the importance of owning and having a professional looking website as the country begins to unfold and reopen. Our special guest today is Brian Troiano from Parabyte Digital. And we also have Scott Burdoff, obviously, from Expand Your Brand, who has been hosting all these for us. So I will let them take over from here. Oh, I will remind you all, though, I'm monitoring the chat room. So if anybody has any questions or anything and doesn't want to jump in, feel free to put your questions in the chat bar, and I will make sure that the presenters know that there's a question.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for attending today's Marketing Lab session. I think that you're going to find the information today to be, I think, kind of eye-opening, especially for the small to medium-sized businesses that may have said that having their own website is not valuable, too expensive, several challenges. I think we're going to take away some misconceptions of that, give you some real important data of how to take care of that going on, especially in the pandemic. So Kelly, if we go to the first slide. As we talked about, Brian is our guest instructor today, and he's going to be talking about what we're calling the digital trifecta. So if you were with us for our last session, we talked about how to create a killer social media campaign on Facebook. Now we're going to the next section of the triangle, the next side of the triangle, and move down to a website and why it's important to have your own website. And we're going to be talking about the top 10 reasons to own your own website and control the data, and how that's tied into Google and SEO. So I think you're going to find this information to be key. So we talked about social media, website, Google, and SEO. Next slide, please. So before we go on to the first one, I wanted to remind everybody that we're going to be doing a drawing at the end of the session for some prizes for everybody that attends this session. There'll be some opportunities to win a few really cool prizes that EYB has kind of put out there. So we kind of want to think about this as a top 10 list of the things that you should kind of keep in mind when it comes to owning your own website. I hear some background noise. I don't know if it's me. Let me see. Hang on one second. I just don't know why I hear that. Oh, good. It's gone. No? Maybe not. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to run through the top 10 list really quickly, and then we're going to kind of dive into each one of these for a few minutes and kind of discuss the importance of them and maybe some more details. So the first one, top 10, is take ownership. Own your own website, own your own content. Number 2, must be professional looking. There's a huge difference between just throwing some information up there and making your own website look professional. Search engine rankings. This is going to create some free leads for you, your business, and your organization. Number 4, turn your website visitors into leads. So there's a difference between just having it as SEO and then actually once somebody comes on, capturing that information to turning them into leads for you. Collecting information from customers. This is going to create an email list for you and your business. Hang out where your customers do online, and that we're going to kind of go into a little bit more detail with that. Sell your products or services. So if you think about it, your business right now might not be set up for e-commerce. You might not think that people would even think about buying your product online when you've always had a brick and mortar building. We're going to talk about that a little bit more and give you some examples of it. Keeping IT simple. if you think about probably 10, 15, 20 years ago, when people were building websites, there was a lot of code involved. You had to have a special background. You had to have special training. Now, to create a great website, you don't need any of that. You can actually create it with no coding needed. Number 3, to promote your brick and mortar locations. How to draw people from your website to actually get them to come in now that the businesses in the area all over the country are reopening during the pandemic. And number 10, impression is everything. Taking traditional branding and your website and combining it all together to create that perfect trifecta of a marketing campaign. So we're going to go now into the first one, kind of talk about it a little bit. And remember, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. So, Brian, thank you so much, buddy, for joining us today. I appreciate it. Just to let everybody know, his camera on his desktop isn't working, so that is the logo for his business. So he would wave, but he's going to be doing it.
Hello.
There he is. How are you?
Yeah, all those Zoom updates broke my laptop, so you're on my desktop. At least I can have visual and audio.
That's right. Nobody do the Zoom updates.
It's great to be here. Yeah. Unfortunately, it was too late. It kind of automatically did it when I booted up.
So
technology.
Thank you so much for joining today, and thanks for putting together this great presentation. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about ownership of a website, right? So,
sure.
There are a lot of companies that are out there that I've seen, even in the last couple of weeks, that have talked about being able to get a website for under $50 a month. There's got to be some
sure.
catch in that. Can you tell me a little bit about why business owners should basically want to host it and create this domain name on their own?
So there's a few things when it comes to ownership. And in my past experience with some of the clients I've worked with, they've purchased when they first started their business. They were approached by a company, and they were sold a package. The package got put together for them. They put the website together for them, and then they charged them a monthly fee to manage the website. So what that ends up doing is the website itself is not really under your control. This other company actually owns it and the data that it's on. So for the price of what you're paying a month for that subscription to have that access to their platform, you could do that yourself with GoDaddy perhaps, or Wix or Squarespace, and buy your own domain name, and you own it. So you have complete control and command over all of your content and your branding, your business name. So that way, down the line, if you need to make changes or anything, you want to move something around, you don't have to jump through hoops with this other company to gain access to your data. That make sense?
I think so. The big thing, I think, is control and data, right? Wouldn't you say those are the two biggest things?
Correct.
Right. I think that, and I know in my past experience, when I've worked with people that needed access to their website, whether it was for a menu update on their restaurant, their restaurant website, they weren't able to get it because basically that hosting company held them hostage. Even if they left using that company, they wouldn't give up that data because they said, well, listen, if you're not working with us, you don't get that data because that data is ours. So is it difficult
Correct.
to set those kind of things up a little bit to get it started?
What was the question? Is it difficult to get started?
Is it difficult? Like, let's say, for example, we're talking about pricing right now. We're looking at like a
Sure.
small fee to go on and create just your own domain name. Nothing more than that at this point. Just going on and owning that part.
Sure. So the biggest player in the game for domains is obviously GoDaddy. Depending on your name, if it's just the .com domain name, you can get one for a year membership that's registered with your information. It's yours, you own it, no matter what, for about $10, between 10 and 15 bucks, depending on what specials, if you're savvy enough to find coupons. But yeah, you can own it for a year, or 2 years or 3 years. and it's yours. You don't have to worry about it going anywhere, no one else owning it, and it's your name, your business, your property.
Awesome. Okay, that's good. So we'll go to the next slide. We'll go down to number 9. Looking professional. So as everybody knows, especially now, is perception is reality and impression is everything, right? So while we're all home, stuck in kind of quarantining in the last couple of last 7, 8, 9 weeks, depending on where you live, people are spending a lot more time online, and so they're looking at websites, diving deeper. And if you don't have one, number one, if you don't have a website to your business, that's the first reality. The second thing is, once they do find your website, what does it look like? It's building that credibility for your potential customers and current clients, right? So if they host their own, I guess the question is, do you have an example about this? Maybe like a shoe man. We were talking about it yesterday, which I thought was a great example. Someone that works on your shoes, right?
Sure.
Called the shoe man shoes. Can you tell us a little bit about that in that example? How it relates to looking professional?
So I'm not a shoe guy, but I think it's a great example. You spend all this money on your shoes and you want them to look great. So what do? You pop on the Google, you type in shoe repair near me. That's kind of the keywords that I would use. And up pops a couple websites right up top on Google search. The first one you click on, it takes you to a web page, has the name of the company, a little bit of text information, maybe a small picture or something, and a contact button to call us and schedule an appointment to get your shoes repaired. You back out of that and you go to the next one down in the list on Google, and you have this beautiful website with this beautiful shiny shoe image right on top. A bunch of Google reviews from people saying, "Oh, we love this guy's service." Which one are you going to pick? Are you going to pick the one that's static? I call it static data, where it's just text and a picture, or one that's more dynamic and a little more bling, shall I say, that looks a little more professional. Which one would you choose? So that's basically where this is kind of pointing at is, you set up your shop brick and mortar. It's beautiful. When you walk in, your customers are impressed. Your website should reflect that exact same look and feel. Does that make sense?
I think so. I think that clean, crisp, easy to navigate. I think, and before we go on to the next one, think about how companies like Amazon have kind of transformed what all of our expectations are when it comes to web shopping, right? E-commerce, right? It's easy to search for, easy to check out, easy to give you suggestions, and all those things you can kind of build into your own website, which is something that you're not really able to do with social media alone. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's about everybody wants something now, so you have that 3 seconds to get their attention. And the better you do a job of that with, visuals and ease of navigation and finding what they're looking for, you're going to get that customer.
That's perfect. So let's go to the next one. Let's go down to number 8 in our top 10. So organic search results equal free leads. So think about what you do in your own search habits, right? Content is king, right? And for the best results, you're going to want to put on there unique, creative content, whether that's something that you've created or something that your business or your industry has put out there that has a lot of followers to go along with it, right? I think that's a really key thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be content that you created, right? So if you're just posting it on your social media, you don't have control over where Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or any other social media platform puts you, but you do control it on your own website, right? So if you think about it, searching for a product or service, Brian, tell us a little bit about that and how that can actually create free leads for that business, especially like the one we're seeing here as the example with Treehouse World. But I think looking at their website, it was awesome. It was really cool. Maybe you want to go there.
Awesome. So when someone's searching for something, SEO is search engine optimization. I like to call it search intent. You know, when somebody wants something, they want it now and they want it right in front of their face. So having a website gives you that flexibility to actually tailor your content to what those people are searching for around your products or services. So the better you do at doing that on your site and conveying your messages in relevancy to their search terms, you're more likely going to show up and take up the top half of your search screen on Google, which is what this is depicting here on the right-hand side. Now, this is a branded keyword because it's their name of their business. But as you can see, and we'll get into it later on the right-hand side, you see where there's a picture. It says Treehouse World. That's Google My Business, which is part of this SEO thing. That's part of that triangle that we will get to down in the next couple slides. But if you don't have your website or it's not optimized properly, you will not show up correctly for the search terms or intent. So the content is key that's on your site.
I think a thing that people have been afraid of in the past is not necessarily knowing how to create and put the right wording on their website. Like, listen, if I'm a landscaper, or I'm a baker, or I sell pottery, or if I don't know, that's not my industry. I don't know how to do those things. How difficult is it for me to find or do research of like what I need to have on there in order to get those rankings higher?
So again, Google's gotten a lot smarter since the old days. The old days used to be able to just put a bunch of keywords on the bottom of your page. So like, bakery, donuts, bakery, muffins, breads, you could like load up on keywords and that you would rank for that. Now Google's kind of looking at it as being more personable. So they want you to speak naturally to your customers, and using the terminology and what your customers would for shopping your products or services. So, that goes a long way with rankings. It's not the miracle automatically up top. You're not going to get first rankings right away. But, as you build your content and you're personable and you're, how you deal with your customers in person is the same thing you want to do on your website.
So again, before we go on to the next one, I think that we'll say it one more time, that content is king, right? And,
yes.
And think about how you use your own when you're searching for things, right? If somebody has
Yep.
a video on their website for something that you're looking for, are you more likely to click on the video and see it and watch it? And the more people that do that, it's going to help that search engine and help Google, Bing, Yahoo, whoever you're using as your primary search engine, push you up even higher, especially if you're in an
Sure.
industry that doesn't normally do that, right? Like, for example,
Sure.
someone that sells pottery, I'm using that example because I have someone that I know does that, right? So if he has pictures or a video of him actually creating the product, putting it in a box, shipping it out, that's going to be a lot more than just a stagnant picture, right? So kind of think those things in mind. That all those things doesn't necessarily have to be text, but the video and the pictures are very loud.
And just to kind of go with the free leads thing is, the better your content is, that's free traffic. People are going to be coming to you. You're not paying a dime for it. It's just your time and your content that you're updating. So, organic sales is big in some e-commerce stores and some of the clients that I have. It accounts for a lot of revenue.
Awesome. So now we'll go on to number 7. To turn your website into leads, right? So now, after they've actually gone on and found you, how do you actually get them to make a purchase? Gaining visitors on your website is good, but getting customers is even better, right? So that's where you can actually be making money and getting leads while you sleep, right? So if you've set up your website and you're slowly growing the position on all the search engines, people, listen, people are not sleeping as much as they used to, especially since they've been home and they're online all the time. So putting out there any kind of an incentive to get them to either try your business or reach out to you for more information is going to be really key. We just put a couple of different examples up here. Peloton. Those guys are out there pushing everywhere. They're on TV, they're on radio, they have a website, social media, they're covering all different types of media, right? So when they go onto the website, they have on here, try Peloton and get 2 weeks for free, right? So, but in order to do that, you have to commit to buying the hardware, buying the equipment, right? But you're going to get your first 2 weeks of free. You might not necessarily know how much that value is, but either way, it sounds pretty good. It gives you a chance to try it out, right? Again, the next one underneath here, the $5 off, they can either use it on their e-commerce store in this example, they can bring it into the store, or they can use it online, right? So there's lots of different ways that you can set those up. And depending on the type of business that you have, you can either create this. We talked about it, I think a couple of sessions ago. There's a lot of websites out there, Canva, Poster My Wall, are all things that you can make these kinds of images to put on your website that can be live links. So when someone clicks on it, they can either put it to your shopping cart or create it into a lead for you to follow up with them. So Brian, anything else?
Yeah, I just want to add to that is that when you have control of your website, you have control of what people see when they first land on it. And one of the things that you want to do is have this kind of offer right up front, a call to action. So the call to action here is to sign up for 2 weeks free. Maybe if you are an HVAC person or, a physical trainer, which you would have, your first lessons free, sign up here to take advantage of the offer, and then that converts. So there's a conversion right there. So that's your whole idea, is you want somebody to find your website, find what they're looking for, and convert, and put it right in their face so they can do it, make it easy.
And I think before we go to the next one, again, I'm going to reinforce that online shopping has gone up. I think I saw an update yesterday that Target was up 74 or 76% over last year at this time. So again, while everybody is online, think about your business and how you can, reach those customers that right now are still kind of on lockdown, or as we're continuing to slowly open across the country, to get them to now actually come back into your business or brick and mortar business. So any questions?
Yeah.
Again, please just put it in the chat. Number 6, collecting customer contact information. So I actually did this recently for my own website. I wanted to put on here something that when someone comes on, all I want them to do is put in their email and they will actually automatically join our email database, right? So it's super simple. We don't, you have to decide on your own which email database, which email company you want to, reach out to. There's several. We might even be able to get into that as another topic down the road. But once your website is built, adding this form is super easy, right? You're basically just going to take the code, which comes on the back whenever you get a sign up with one of these email companies, paste it into the website, and boom. Whenever someone calls on to it, it's the first thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I was just agreeing with you that it's important. You want to make sure you gather some sort of data from your visitors if you can. And this is one nice way to do it, especially if if your business has some sort of educational aspect to it, where you can send out a weekly newsletter, and offering some knowledge of what your business can do or offer them, even if it's, how to cut your grass correctly if you're, a landscaper, just something to reach out and engage with your customers.
I'll give a perfect example. I've been contemplating building a patio in my backyard, right? So what would be super helpful to me would be if I found a landscaper that had that how-to video. And I know myself, what's going to happen is I'm going to go out there, I'm going to buy all the material, and I'm going to get frustrated. And then I'm going to call somebody to say, come and help me, right? So if I've already got this video from this landscaper, I signed up for his updates. Now I have a way to reach out to them, or they can reach out to me and they can say, hey, hope you enjoyed watching that video. Is there anything we can help you with? Now they've again created another contact, another valuable, they've created another valuable tool to communicate with their customers down the road. So, and if I've added my name to that email database, they can send it out and say, hey, how's that video going? Did you enjoy it? And I can write back and say, I need help. Reach out to me. So I'm sure
Great idea.
I'm sure that's going to happen all the time. Let's go down to number 5. So hang out where your customers do. This might sound very basic, right? but the internet is everywhere. You know, why not be where they are, everywhere? Having a basic website is going to be very valuable to you and very helpful to your business. If they cannot find you online, and some people, when I say they can't find you online, if they can't find your website online, in some instances, that customer might not think that you exist, right? Because anybody can build a free Facebook page. Anybody can build and can set up a free Instagram page or Twitter account. But if you have a website, it shows that you are committed and you are actually a sustainable business, right? So another key thing is to make sure, I mean, I think Brian is definitely going to be able to talk more about this, but to make sure that when you do build your website, that it fits each screen responsively. So Brian, what does that necessarily mean?
So I'm sure everybody has come across this before, sitting on their couch watching TV, and what do? You flip your phone open and you start looking things up. And you land on a website and you're having to pinch and zoom and move and turn and flip and try to figure out how to see all the content. Well, websites these days, and they all should, have this thing called responsiveness. So basically it detects what size screen you're looking from at the website, and it will scale everything down. Sometimes it changes it completely, so it makes it easy to navigate and easy to find your way around, easy to convert. So think of the Amazon app. If you look at the Amazon website on your phone, what does it do? It sends you to the app because it's made smaller and for mobile. So it's very important to have that aspect on your site, because I don't know about you, but I get frustrated if I have to do that. I'm like, I'm going to another website.
Right, and the longer that you can get them to stay on, the better chance that you have that they're going to buy something or want to connect with you as a business owner. Wouldn't you agree?
Sure. Yep. And so, and a lot of these, like back to what I was saying with these GoDaddy builders, I mean, if you don't have a website, these GoDaddy builders, they're built into making it responsive. And there's WordPress, there's Squarespace, all of them have responsive aspects of it automatically. So depending on, you know, what package you have and what you're doing, you know, it'll automatically do it.
Excellent. So let's go to the next one. Thank you. So I think that now we've gotten to the point where we've kind of are beating it in everybody's head that you need to have a website in addition to any other type of social media that you're doing, right? And it's important to have that content, that original content, that creative content. But now the world is reopening, right? I think as of yesterday, all 50 states were open or partially open for business in a variety of types of businesses, right? So now, what should people be doing with their websites, right? What's something that you should have on that, right? I think the top the top quote here that we saw this on Forbes was that retailers selling non-essential items see double and triple digit increases during this pandemic, right? So how do you let people know, hey, we're open now, come and see us, come and talk to us, we are here for you, right? So if your business sells a product or a service, or you might even be creative and start figuring out a way to get something with your name on it to try to get that person to show their love for your business, how do you get them to do that? So Brian, could you talk a little bit about how would someone want to create some supplemental income, a multi-channel, almost like another channel of revenue for them during this transition time from closure to open?
So, all right, so I have a few examples, but you know, one thing that's important about this is, you know, there is a glimmer of hope that things are open. When this pandemic started, everybody shut down. Everybody said, oh no, we can't tell when the light at the end of the tunnel is going to be. So they kind of held off updating their website. So, you know, now that there's a glimmer of hope that things are gonna kind of go back to normal, you know, now you should be putting your pedal to the metal and getting your site up to date. Now, because some of the revenue channels were affected by people not being able to visit stores, you know, some of my clients came up with some cool ideas to generate revenue. One of them being is I have an escape room client, and they created a digital escape room where it was like $5 to go on there and play the game digitally. So that was like a unique way of them to be able to do that. I have another auto repair client of mine that we thought of an easy way. Another way to add a revenue stream would be to sell parts, you know, and you're going to be buying parts anyway from him. Why not sell some of those parts, you know, and maybe make some more margin on it than you would if it was part of the repair. So having that other revenue channel is important, and it could actually outpace because you're always open, you know.
A 24/7, 365 store that might not have been there 2 months ago.
Yep.
I think that's a key thing. And to think about, even if there's shipping involved or the things that you might not have had to think about before, if you create it to where it's easy for people to buy, I'm wondering if there's a way to go on and find out what the highest selling items on Amazon are right now. I'm just throwing that out there. Like, if there's a way to be able to see, okay, well, I sell that item. Why can't I get on some of that? Why can't I get some revenue from that? If Amazon is selling it and they weren't selling that many of them before, well, I have that as one of my products. Let me figure out how to do that. So I think it's something to consider. Maybe it's something that has to do with a hobby that people have all of a sudden started doing again. I'll give you a great example, right? Puzzles. If anybody has actually tried to buy a puzzle, 500, 1,000, 5,000 pieces over the last couple of weeks, it takes weeks to get them delivered. How many puzzles do you think that those same companies were selling back in November of last year, right? So I was doing some research this morning, and I saw that Heinz created a whole puzzle campaign of all of their different types of products that you could put together, like 1,000-piece puzzle of Heinz ketchup, right? It's a Heinz ketchup bottle. If you love Heinz ketchup, I'm a huge fan, right? So you could go on and you can actually buy that puzzle that before Heinz was never selling puzzles, and now all of a sudden they are for $25, right? So they're finding a way to still get their brand in people's houses when they weren't able to do that before, right? So it's a way
Correct.
to think about it, very out of the box. So, sorry, you wanted to add something.
And just to add another layer to this slide here is, you know, it's not super expensive. You could do it yourself to add a shopping cart and a product e-commerce platform plugin to your website, using such things as WooCommerce is a WordPress version, Shopify. I've worked with Shopify quite a bit, and it's very easy to set up products, very easy to publish a store, and it's very easy to link to your existing website if you and it's not very expensive. I mean, $30 a month, you know, plus credit card processing fees, and you're golden. So, I mean,
can we talk about
you
Shopify?
still have to back. Sure.
So how difficult, let's say I want to put 30 products on there, right? How long do you think it would take me to do that?
All right. So there's two. The one most, I guess, the simplest way is when you log into your platform, you have a inventory tab where you can literally upload a picture, upload a title, upload a price, upload a description, and hit save, and you're done. And it shows up in a category on your site. If you have 30 of them, you can get a little bit more savvy, and you can use Excel to do it. But it's very point and click. I mean, they make it super, super simple for you. And if you're a retail, you have a point of sale side of it where you actually can use your iPad and sell from your iPad in your brick and mortar store those products as well, if you don't have them in your store.
One of the things that I know that some family members were talking about the other day on a Zoom call that we had is that they missed, we've talked about this a couple of weeks ago, I think on another session, but they missed the actual feeling of browsing in a store, right? So one of the really cool things about having your own website and taking this selling products online that you might not have been able to do, let's say that you're a small boutique, right? You're a small boutique store, or you're a corner grocery store, right? That has some specialty items, but you never thought about putting anything like that online. you know, you've been in business for 100 years, your great grandparents started it. That's just not the way you've done business in the past. But now you could slowly start getting into that e-channel, that e-commerce channel of having that another type of revenue, and allow people to see a video of this particular section of the store. And then after that, you can put on there some of the items that you actually showed, right?
Sure.
So whether they're walking around virtually or literally going through the store and saying, yep, this is where we have this is where we have this. It's actually in aisle 4, so when you come and check it out. But if you'd like to buy it, here it is, just like this, right? And it pops up in front of them. So just a few different things of industries that might not necessarily thought of selling things online. So we're going to go to the next one, which is number 3. Keeping IT simple, right? As we talked about it before, you can basically add your own SEO to a website. It's click, 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 done, right? Looking at that code at the top of that picture has got to be very confusing. It's confusing to me. I don't know any of that stuff, and I don't think I'd want to learn it. So, Brian, give us just a little bit of, like, we talked about it, we hinted on it today, but an example of the services that are out there that allow someone to create their own website, sometimes free, and then what the options are after that.
So these days you really don't need to be an IT professional to figure this out. They make it super easy with they call them online builders or visual builders, where you actually can drag and drop elements to the page. So a picture, a text box, change the colors. You know, you can basically lay out the whole page with your mouse. You don't need to look at code. And when you're done with it and you hit save, all the code gets kind of compiled and cleaned up, and what you see is what you get, which what they call WYSIWYG. So it makes it very simple. To go deeper down into it, there's some other customizations you can do. There are one-stop shop, web design companies, kind of like myself, that can help you with, customizing some of these templates so they're not so cookie cutter, and they look back to looking professional, a little more bling, but getting hung up on design sometimes is a little hard for people. So.
Yeah, I think sometimes, and we talked about this earlier, is that people get scared that it's going to be overwhelming to do this, right? And this is the perfect time during this pandemic, and while people are slowly opening, to put it out there. Try it out, build it yourself. If you get frustrated with it, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. That's why we have specialists that we've been working with, like Brian, like Kelly, like Savon, like Keith, who are all in these different industries that can say, hey, listen, we can help you. If you've tried it and you're frustrated, we'll take it from here. And we'll work together with you to give you some competitive pricing. We're going to go to number 2. So now, again, we want to talk about that third part and the triangle, right? Which is Google and SEO. Anyone that's on the call right now, is anybody napping yet? That term, NAP. Well, it's not napping like in the middle of the day when you need your power nap. It's basically, what is it, Brian? Tell us a little bit about what napping is.
So in the industry, name, address, phone number means NAP. And that's something that all the search engines are very, very strict about. They want to be able to see that on your website someplace prominent. Because that's what customers want to see. They want to know who you are, where you are, how to get a hold of you. So there's a third angle to this, which promoting your brick and mortar store is on Google My Business, or on Google, there's a thing called Google My Business. And basically it's like Facebook for search engines. It's that big block on the right-hand side, back if you remember in the slides with Treehouse World, it shows all your information with a call to action, where to find you, how to call you. I mean, you can click on that on your phone and it'll call right away. So they don't even have to visit your website because they're looking for you. They can do it right there. So it makes it very simple. And but yeah, that's where you would put all your locations. You can put pictures, you can put Google reviews. I only have one up there when I took that picture. So it's a very good thing to have for your business that supplements with your website, because it all kind of, and your social media, because it all flows through that triangle.
And setting that Google My Business up again, you said is free.
Yes, absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a thing.
Gotcha.
And it takes up a lot of space on top of the search results. So when someone searches for, and I'm going to use Italian restaurant near me is a huge term that people, and this is another conversation, but using, Google ads or advertising, those keywords near me with your service is what people bid on. So that's what normally shows up as an ad. But like bakery near me, based on your location to that person searching, it'll show on the right-hand side your information. So you're automatically taking up a lot of space.
I think a key thing is when you're talking about this is, so if someone is just starting to build their own website, they don't have one, right? They only have social media. If you do a Google My Business and you have a basic starter website right now, right? That'll give you more space than what they would see if it's just on Facebook, or if you're just on Grubhub or Instacart or Uber Eats or something like that. Will it give it more prominence on the site, like when they pull that restaurant near me up? Did that make sense?
In regards to having, all right, so when someone searches for your product or service, you want your website to show up number one, right?
Right. But
that needs to be number one.
Let's say, let's say, for example, that right now they just built a website and they haven't built up their SEO to be high enough on the search, right? So the first thing that comes up is Facebook or OpenTable or some other thing that they don't control the data. But if they do control it and they put a Google My Business account up here, it will give them more real estate. That was the word I was looking for. More real estate.
Correct.
Search tool than all those other aggregators. Is that correct?
Correct. And it's geographically located, I guess, based on who's searching for you. So when you set up your Google My Business, again, free, you put in your service areas. So that way, someone's searching in King of Prussia for a landscaper, you should hopefully show up there because you're closest to that person searching for that.
Can you do Google My Business before your website is live?
You can. So that's a trick question. I don't advise it. I would rather see you have your website up first and then Google My Business, because Google actually looks for the NAP on your web page, and since they have a website button there, it works. But I've seen businesses have that website button be the Facebook page. So it could go either way, but I would advise having the website first before setting it up.
Before we get to the last one, I'm just curious, if I were to say, I don't have a website now, how long from start to finish just to get it launched? How long should that take?
A website?
Ballpark it for me.
A very basic website with one page and contact information. You could set that up with one of these design services in a couple hours.
Gotcha. Okay. And you said that the pricing would be what, roughly?
Well, so there's free services out there which you could do. It wouldn't cost you anything except for the domain name, which is that $10 to $12 I told you about, so you own it. If you went with like a GoDaddy design, like web store designer package that they sell, it could be less than $50 a month.
Okay, good to know. That is, let's go down to number one. So impression is everything. This is probably the biggest thing that we need to talk about, that impression is everything. What are you going to do with that website now that you've built it? It should be on everything. It should be on your business cards. It should be on your menu. It should be on signage. It should be on shirts. It should be on anything that you would have your name on, I believe. I believe that you want to drive people to that website because that's going to give them more information. People ask me all the time, well, should I put my phone number or should I put my website? I always tell people to put your website because then they can get your phone number from there and a lot more information, right? Again, it's going to draw additional sales down the road. Impression, image is everything, right? How it looks, how it makes it easy, all those different types of things. You want others to remember you. Keep the website domain simple, right? Kidneys for Ralph, right? That's simple, right? So we're going to go on. So Brian, anything else on this one? Because we're actually going to wrap up a little bit earlier than normal, which is awesome.
Well, sure. Well, let's say the one thing too is impressions is everything, and back to looking professional. This ties everything together. What I really think about this one is you want your website to look like all of your marketing material, all of your signage, all of your storefront. Everything should match and be consistent, so you're not confusing anyone when they go to look at your flyer. It looks different than your website, because that's kind of like a turn off to some people. So if you can make it very cohesive across the board on everything that is your business, that has your name on it, that's what you want to do.
Awesome. Brian, I really appreciate your feedback today, and hopefully everybody gained some information. We're now going to do prize drawing. Kelly, you still there? Hopefully. She might be there.
I am. I was just muted.
That's okay. Hey, she's back.
Hi. I cannot see the chat bar though. Remember, you were watching that for me.
Yep, I was.
Presentation mode.
So do you have 2 winners for us?
I do. So Tracy, I am not saying last names because I don't want to
butcher anybody's
last name. But Tracy and Nicholas.
Awesome. So Nicholas and Tracy, if you look on the screen, there should be 5 different prizes that you can choose from. So a golf umbrella, tailgate bag, which is really cool. The waterproof speaker is awesome. Basically, it's got, all of these have the Marketing Lab logo on it, but they're great. They're great items for you to use. The mouse pad is really cool to use while you're at home. So it's a charging mouse pad. And then the last one, the one in the middle there, is an 8-in-1 flip charger. So it'll charge 8, it can charge 8 different types of things. So if you could, in the chat bar, please put in, you can send it directly to me, right? Just send it right to me. That way I have it only. What prize you would like and what your address is. And we will send you out those prizes. A few of them are still getting produced. So as soon as they come, we'll put them in the mail to you. Again, thank you everybody for joining. All of our contact information is on here. Our next session is going to be in 2 weeks. It's going to be Thursday, June 4th at 12 p.m. It's going to be about creating a killer social media campaign on Instagram. Last time we did Facebook, completely different on Instagram. So again, my name is Scott Broda from Expand Your Brand. And my guest today was, if you could introduce yourself one more time, please, sir.
Brian Troiano from Parabyte Digital.
Excellent. Again, thanks everybody for joining, and have a great day and stay safe out there.